Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the first episode of Tea Time with Phoenix on the Hustle and Shine podcast. Joining me this evening for my episode zero is my husband. We are going to be discussing the management of our modern day marriage. And interestingly, so I use the term management because the way that we run our family, it is like a business. He and I are both entrepreneurs. We both have very busy schedules, and in that, we share all of the responsibilities that come down um, in maintaining our home, maintaining our marriage, and making sure that everything goes the way that it should. So I am so excited to be here this evening with you all for my first episode. I'm a little bit nervous, which is weird because this is not my first time doing this. So I want to welcome everybody in. So if you are here joining me, please drop in the comments where you're from. Let me know if you're married. Some of you have sent me some really juicy questions. I shared them with him earlier so that he could be prepared and nothing comes out of left field. But I'm really excited for this evening. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to the man of the hour, my partner in crime, Mr. Mahli Mathias Sr. Come on in, dear. Come on in. All right. So welcome in. Tell the people who you are in case they weren't here last week when we had the husbands on.
Oh, how you doing? My name is Mahli Mathias Sr. The Ben Amos actually is in dedication to my father. So basically it's saying, I'm Mahli, the son of Amos Mathias. So there you have it.
All right. And tell the people what you do.
Everything. Listen, there's nothing that I don't do as far as community work. I am a founder of a nonprofit organization that's called Big Apple Leadership Academy for the Arts. It's a program that teaches the marching band arts, HBCU style, show style, marching band fundamentals, stuff like that. I'm a little nervous too because it is my wife's first show, and I've actually had my own podcast, and I haven't been this nervous for my first podcast. So I just I guess it's the wife, the marriage thing. You don't want to mess anything up, so there's that. So I'm a little nervous, but yeah, I do a few things. We'll talk about it, I guess.
All right. So we're going to jump right into it and we're going to get into these questions. Okay. So question number one asked, how did you know he or she was the one? Y'all are coming out the gate with them. All right. So how did you know I was the one?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how many people know this, but Tiffany and I actually was in elementary school together at one time. So I personally could take it back that far in the sense of, like, for some reason this little bright light little girl just always fascinated me. We used to always tease her name, stuff like that. She was the lightest person I knew at the time. So mine's go back. My curiosity about who she was goes back, all the way to elementary school. But then we, had life, had kids in between, and met each other. And to say, how did I know she was the one? I saw how she interacted with her kids. At the time, I was in a space where I had my two sons at the time, a baby boy, MJ, and then I had Zav. And I knew that I wasn't going to be with their mom. So I knew that moving forward, I would need someone who who I can trust to take care of my sons. And that was the main thing that I saw about her in the beginning, and I knew that she was the one. And then when I first, when we reacquainted ourselves, I saw her for the first time again. I said it then. So I said I'm gonna marry her. So there you go.
All right. For me, my answer is a little bit more simpler. I knew he was the one based on something that he said. As he mentioned before, we were elementary school classmates and reconnected through the powers of social media. And so we would, comment on each other's posts pertaining particularly to like things revolving around society, music, so these were common interests that we had. And he would often like my pictures or comment, oh, I like that. And congratulations, and vice versa. So it wasn't like it was all one sided. It was back and forth, very platonic and everything like that. When we reconnected, he said, even though I smiled in my pictures, my smile didn't reach my eyes. And it was true. Like I was smiling on the outside, but on the inside I was crying, which I'm trying not to do now. But yeah, so he saw something in me that other people didn't. He saw a vulnerability in me that I didn't allow others to see. So yeah, we're on the hot seat now. Woo! All right. So question number 2. What expectations did you have when it came down to getting married?
All right. Funny enough, I wasn't for marriage, so I mean, it wasn't my thing. I wasn't raised that way. I was coached into it, I guess you'd say, by someone. And not in a bad way, I guess, because I was raised that you didn't need a paper to say that you're married. So in getting with her and all that other stuff, I didn't have any expectations. But then as I grew in love with her and stuff like that and wanted to give her, what was going to make her happy, um, I fell into it, and I fell into it hard. And one of the things is, the question is, what did I expect? I don't expect much of anything besides validation on what you already had. You know what I'm saying? Because if you think that once you get married, it's supposed to get better, then you're getting married for all the wrong reasons. It's supposed to have been better all the rest. It's supposed to have been better already. It's supposed to have been something you wanted to do from the beginning. So I'll tell you, me personally, the only expectation that I had was that they'll be happier, that she'll be happier, the girls will be happier, the girls will feel safer. Her girls, meaning my daughters, her daughters, my stepdaughters. I don't really call them that. But yeah. So there's that. I didn't have much expectations besides them being happy.
Yeah. So I'm going to say I didn't have any expectations at all. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with my sister, Melissa, who was my wedding coordinator, maybe about a month before I walked down the aisle. And she kind of asked me, Tiff, we had lived together, for years, about 4 or 5 years. We were living together before we got married. And for me, I was like, okay, we're going to get married. We're going to, solidify our love in front of our friends, our family, the Most High. And yeah, there's going to be a legal piece of paper involved that, registers our relationship with the government. And, there's some protections that come with that. So I wasn't really expecting anything beyond the formalities. And she was like, sis, you're in for a rude awakening if you think the day after your wedding, you're going to walk into your house and things aren't going to change. And I was definitely in for a rude awakening because I didn't have expectations. I just thought everything was going to be exactly the same. And it wasn't. All right. So we got a couple of comments coming in. Let's see who is in the house. So We have Melly Mel, who is our operations director for the Diamond Rise. Hey, Mel. She said, let's go, Black Love. And oh, here's my girlfriend from high school. Hey, Tony, how are you, darling? Thank you for stopping in, checking in with us. We appreciate you all so much for tuning in. And so we're going to move into our next question. Hey, Danielle, thank you. All right. Question number 3. What is his or her love language? I could start that one off.
Yeah, she about all the languages.
So I actually did read the book about the 5 love languages, and his love language is acts of kindness. So, you know that cliche thing about make your man a sandwich? Don't nothing make him happy and let him know that I love him more than making his sandwich or his tacos, which I just finished, making for him. Yeah, something as simple as making his sandwich, or dinner is cooked and a plate of food is put to the side for him and he'll eat when he's ready to eat. Lets him know that, yeah, I was thinking about him and I love him.
Yeah, that you might be right with that one. That yeah, I'm pretty simple, I guess you'd say. I try to tell her that, that I don't need much in the way of gifts or anything like that. Those are nice and all that good stuff, but I think the biggest gift is what comes from the heart. You know what I'm saying? The things that just come genuinely, come natural, and all that other stuff. All the things that gifts that you buy and gifts that you go out and you have to really think on and say, okay, this is going to make them happy. Nah, I think that what my language is about what naturally, what you do naturally to make me happy. That comes off. So now, as far as what her language is what I know it to be is the gift giving. She likes all the gifts. She likes gifts. She likes gifts. She likes to feel loved. She likes to feel loved, of course. That kind of stuff. But that, and she's told me, we've spoken about love languages. So that's the thing about a lot of these questions that's kind of cool, is that we've spoken on these things and tried to come to terms with, with understanding one another. She thinks I'm argumentative, which I am to a point, but then it's really, to me, it's really not argumentative. I'm really serious about making sure that we get this right at all times. You know what I mean? I think that we have to strive for perfection, regardless to if you're perfect or not. So I think you have to be in a state of striving for perfection, regardless to what you think, what kind of F up you think you are. So there's that. But yeah, her love language is definitely gifts. And like, and not the big elaborate gifts either, not no expensive stuff. Like it just, just little trinkets here and there, stuff like that.
I'm gonna tell you, one of the best gifts he gives is he knows that if I'm in a mood, I'm not having one of those days where I feel quite like myself, nothing but a peanut butter cup will make me feel better. So he tends to keep them around and just be like, here you go.
Yeah. I gotta remember these. I gotta remember these tactics too, because complacency gets in the way of a relationship as well. You get to get complacent, and then you forget certain things or whatnot. So
Oh, look at that. Besides the questions that came in earlier, we had 2 live questions in the chat. So first live question in the chat. What has been your biggest obstacle and how did you overcome it? Whew.
Biggest obstacle for me would be her girls. That'd be the biggest obstacle I've had to deal with.
Yeah, they wasn't playing.
Yeah, they wasn't playing from day one, and they still don't play. Like, and mind you, it's 9 years going, and they still have their, they still something else. But love them nonetheless, and they're wonderful and great women. And, I mean, I met them all as little girls, and now they're growing into wonderful women. So yeah, that was my biggest obstacle. is getting them to love me. How did I overcome it? I didn't overcome it. They still I didn't overcome it. You know,
they on the other side of the door right now, making sure he don't say nothing messed up.
Nah, I doubt that. They ain't that tuned in. But I will say that, you know, I believe in, you know, from within that they love and cherish me. But you know what I'm saying? You know, some things are harder, you know, to get across. But yeah, that was my biggest obstacle, and overcoming it is still a work in progress, I guess you'd say.
All right. I'm gonna take this one. Melly Mel asks, what was the hardest thing about being a blended family? Whew. All right. The hardest thing about being a blended family is meeting each other where they are. So, as he stated just now, you know, the girls were the biggest obstacle when it came down to, you know, him getting to me. They were very like, not my mother, not you, player, not us. And the funny thing was, when I prepared him to meet my daughters, I was like, you got to understand something. I'm a package deal. If you want to be with me, you got to be with them. Like, you have to take on the fact that they're going to be in your life. They don't need a dad. They have a dad, but you will be an influence and you will be around them. So do understand, like, they're there, right? And so blending the families, there were some who were like, day one, yes, and there's some who were like, I ain't with it. And to this day, will be like, nah. They hear us arguing or having a disagreement. Yeah, they're not with it. Y'all brought us all into this. Y'all either need to fix this or, you know, whatever y'all gonna do, but this ain't what we signed up for. So the kids are really the hardest thing about blending the family, because I think deep down inside, we all want it to work. We're just a little bit afraid of what might happen if it doesn't. Yeah. So thank you for that, Mel. All right.
You all choked up?
I am. Oh, I didn't think this was going to be as difficult as I was like, oh, managing a modern day marriage. Yeah, I got this.
I don't know how she figured that.
Ooh, okay.
There's nothing easy about it.
Here we go. When ego shows up in your marriage, how do you support one another but don't get caught up in that person's shadow? Ooh.
When ego. Oh.
Yeah, ego. Ego. So, you know.
It don't show up for me. Don't. You see, I'm sitting here. I'm in her show.
All right.
I said, I'm here. I'm you know, I put it this way. Her success is my success. So at the end of the day, I don't get where I'm being egotistical about any amount of her success. If she's out here earning six figures or whatever and doing her thing, listen, I could place Stedman to her Oprah in a minute. It's not. I have no ego about this at all.
Mm-hmm.
So ego does not get in the way of what my support of her.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, all of the things that she's doing now, being, you know, author and the such, with you guys at Diamond Writers, with her business, with her job and all that other stuff. Those are all the things that I've known that she was able to accomplish and do. So there's no ego when it comes to what she accomplishes. I'm good. I'm at peace with all her success.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna say he doesn't have a big ego. He mentioned the term argumentative earlier. And so he's very boisterous when it comes down to his opinions. And so, you know, we heavily discuss things around our opinions and our individual ways of doing things and everything like that. But yeah, I don't think ego has necessarily shown up in our marriage. All right, we got another live question here. Tierra is asking, what do you guys do when experiencing burnout?
Go to sleep. That's what I do.
Yeah, he will. He will.
I'll go to sleep.
Yes.
I will sleep. I will sleep. I mean, I can't even give you more than that. Like I don't even understand why I do it. I mean, be honest with you.
Mhm.
I go to sleep. You?
So thankfully I have this wonderful job where I'm an author, and so I get to write. I get to write it out. But truth
Hold
be
on,
told,
hold on.
wait, we like little vacations and stuff like that. Like we missed date night last night, and we have that rescheduled for tomorrow. So sometimes just sneaking away,
Yeah, I guess so.
getting away
We
from
need to do that
everybody.
more often.
We
All of
should.
these things we have to do more often, right? But
Mm.
hold on. What I do when I burn out is I play the video game. I play
Yes.
this one game. I only play one game, and that's
Mhm.
one game alone. And you know, and that's it. And I'm experiencing burnout. I just zone out for a second. But yeah. And if she's meaning burnout within the relationship, the same thing. I go to sleep. You know, same thing. I go to sleep. Yeah. Sleep. Yep. Sleep is good. I mean, listen, think about it. You go to sleep and you don't think about nothing. Like it's like, you might have a dream, you might have a good dream. Like, you know what I mean? Or a scary nightmare. One or the other. It don't matter. But when you wake up, none of that matters anymore. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it was that was going on in your sleep don't matter anymore. So it's almost like before what was going on before you were asleep don't matter anymore either because you was in the realm of sleep and you woke up. You was blessed to be woken up. So yeah, sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep is good.
Resting to restore and reset is important. So yeah, sleep or just tuning out into your own self and getting back into it with who you are helps. All right, so we got a few more questions coming in here. Ooh, did the pandemic have a positive or negative impact on your marriage?
I know what her answer is. My answer is, listen, the pandemic was good to me. There was nothing about the pandemic that I didn't like. Like I said, it slowed everybody down. The world was moving too fast in the first place. I think the world needed a little wake up call, as far as what's been going on in the world. Focus on humanity, them kind of things. Focus on family. Though, and mind you, I was living pandemically almost in the first place because I don't, there's a lot of things about this world we live in that I don't trust in the first place. So at the end of the day, I was always was around my family anyway. Like I make sure my schedule is based around my family's free, when they're free, so I never had a problem being around my kids. I don't have a problem. I like my family, so I love my family, so I didn't have a problem with being around them
He
a
thinks
lot.
he loves his wife.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I think I love her. I'm saying. I mean, listen, a lot of people really found, being around their significant other problematic. I didn't. I think that's actually how it should be. I think, I think what people do is they sit there and they get caught up in society's way of doing things, and then you're not with your significant other for 14 to 16 hours out of the day, and then you wondering how people cheating and doing all kinds of other craziness. Man, listen.
So my answer is it felt like at times it had negative impacts because I get cabin fever really quick and just constantly being on top of each other. We have a very large family and we were all home together. And so one of the things that I learned during the pandemic is that our children love to get on each other's nerves, which usually cause us to, get on each other's nerves. So yeah, it wasn't so bad. We're still here. But amazingly, the pandemic had negative side effects on a lot of marriages. The divorce rate coming out of the pandemic is really high. And so, I think that was one of the reasons why I thought about having this episode was because, being married we just finished listening to the audiobook, Marriage Be Hard by Kevin and Melissa Fredericks. And yeah, marriage do be hard. But if you got the right partner.
I related to a lot of that book. I actually like that book. It was cool.
Yeah. So for married couples out there, if you want a good book on for you and your spouse to read to help you with your marriage, just so that you can realize like some of the stuff that you're going through, you're not going through by yourself, and hear the perspective from a husband and wife duo at the same time. That's a good recommendation until we write ours. All right, I think we have time for one last question, and this one was a doozy.
Hold on, one last question. We almost done.
Yeah, look, we're about 30. Yeah, we're about 30 minutes.
Maybe. Oh, my bad. My podcast was like an hour, so I ain't used to 30 minutes. 30 minutes go real quick. 30 minutes go real quick talking to me. So just you know. So I guess I'll be back on at some point, and we ain't got to talk about marriage all the time.
No, we don't.
Yeah, hold on. We got someone's name. Marriage be hard for real. Yes. Marriage is.
Hold on. He's reading the comments. Danielle, yes, marriage is work.
Marriage is work. Yeah. Yo, listen. I'll tell you this, right? Because we was watching our wedding videos. Finally got our wedding videos. That's another story.
Yes. Best Valentine's Day gift ever.
Yeah, she was hunting these videos down. I finally got my hands on our wedding video. You know, is it really? I don't know. I see people like, is it hard? No, because I say the same thing. I say the same thing that I said before, was that the work was happening before the marriage. You know, I never needed a piece of paper to say I love this woman or I wanted to be with her forever. I told her that, but you know, she needed her validation. So, it's hard, but it's worth it. How about that? Can we agree to that? It's hard, but it's worth it.
Oh, yes, it is hard work, but it is worth it. Oh, we got a new question coming in. Hello, coming in from Karen. Hi, Karen. Do you agree with time apart when you have been married for years? We're gonna have two totally different answers on that.
She'll be out.
So yes, I think a healthy time apart after, a certain amount of time, no real time frame to put on it, might be good for a marriage. Because when you're in a relationship, it is very easy to lose yourself within that relationship, where you lose your individuality and your identity. So Shell Mack in the comment put the hashtag Team Mathias. And for our actual wedding, there was a hashtag, and it was Team Malini, which is a combination of our names. And so that happens in real life, that if you're in a relationship for too long or in a situation, you can begin to blur the lines of where he ends, you begin, and vice versa. So sometimes it is okay to take that time and reset. I'm not talking separation. I'm talking about maybe you go away for a weekend.
That's why I said you got to clear it up, because you sitting here like time apart. That time apart is like, yeah, what do you mean? But I'll say this, right? With time apart, what I've realized, and this goes into growing as individuals as well. So it's going to be the answers. I'm trying to answer both questions, right? So you're time apart when you have been married for years. Yes, time apart in the sense of she's doing what she's doing, like she's doing the Diamond Writers. She's writing with you guys. She's doing things that expresses who she is as Fionix. You understand? And then I'm doing what I'm doing as far as Big Appalachian Buchanan for the Arts, the Empire March, and the League. It's over here. It's over here. Yeah. Okay. Listen, I'm getting used to all this, right? So, we're doing what we're doing as, apart. We're doing what we can apart. But then, so I agree to a point that we have to have our individual situations to where we can prosper. And he said, do you feel you have grown as an individual since being married? Yes, I've grown since being married. I didn't even think I was going to. To be honest with you, like I said, I had no expectations. I had nothing to say. Okay, this is what I expect of the marriage. This is what I think is going to happen. I never thought I was going to grow as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I thought getting married was the growth. You know what I mean? In the sense, because I tell a lot of people, I got married so that I could give my sons an example of, you know, a better example than what they might have had. You know what I mean? If I hadn't gotten married, you know what I'm saying? I want them to say, you know what? When I get older, I'm going to be a married man, not just some dude out here just doing his numbers, as they would say.
Oh. Karen followed up with an additional comment. And thank you, Karen, for sharing and being so authentic. She says, people might think I'm crazy, but when I worked in Alaska, the time apart helped me. Wow. So your time apart and separate had to do with work. You know, there are plenty of married couples out there who, for work reasons, spend time apart. We have
you're on in Alaska.
Right. So I have a aunt who lives in Alaska. Well, she just recently moved back to California, but her husband did long, like, distance work. And so he would be gone for anywhere from 4 to 6 months at a time. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, that kind of like sparked things back up, you know, the distance, you know, you send your little letters, your little pictures, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna keep it PG because it's still children's hours on social media. But yeah, you know, I don't think you're crazy. I think what works for you and your spouse is what works for you and your spouse. And people need to release the judgment of, oh, well, in my marriage, that's not how we do it. So if you're doing it that way, it's wrong. If I say I like it, I love it, that is not the cliche, like, couldn't be me. No, I'm saying if that's how you keep your marriage strong, then go for it. If it's something you haven't done before and you and your partner are both willing to try it out, then go ahead. But again, in that distance, you should still always maintain communication and still be true and authentic to yourselves in your relationship.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, what works for you guys works for you guys. Can't knock it at all. Me personally, that's just not how I'm built. So it is what it is. I got, it's just, I can't do it. No, man. Like, it's just, I can't. No.
And you know what? You have to respect the other person's honesty. You know, when they say something initially and like, yeah, I can't do it, respect the fact that their initial response is, I can't do it. Maybe revisit the conversation. Understand why.
That's what Kevin said. Like, if they were talking about the red light, green light, yellow light type of situation. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, green light means you could do it. Yellow is like, we think about it, and then red is like a hard no.
It's an absolute no.
So,
and find out what's behind the no. You know, that's what's more important. Yes, no is an answer. No is a full sentence, but understand what's behind the no.
Yeah.
All right. So we got time for one last question.
Do we?
Yes. Okay. The last question was, has jealousy shown up in your marriage?
I don't got nothing to be jealous about.
Oh, he said he ain't got nothing to be. Okay, so
yeah,
jealousy has shown up in the marriage, and it's very natural, because this is you, like, not possession, like in that type of way, but this is me. This is my husband. I covet him. That he is mine. I'm his wife. He covets me. Like, I want to protect everything about him. And unfortunately, we live in a society, in a world that sometimes doesn't respect the piece of paper, doesn't respect the ring. And yes, that's a two-way street, because people inside have to respect the piece of paper and respect the ring. But, sometimes you might not even be out there looking for whatever it is. If somebody is creeping around your hen or your rooster, you have a right. It is your divine animal right to protect your marriage. And that's my answer on that. You got anything to add?
What is those? I'm saying, I mean, my jealousies come in the form of, like, Oh, the one thing I am jealous of is the love she gets from her girls to her, right? So it's like, but you know, it's like, what you mean? It's just, hey, I want a little bit, I want a little bit of that too. So that's my jealousy. My jealousy comes with when it comes down to her girls. You know, I'll be like, dang, you know, I'll be like, man, I wish, you know, I wish they was mine in the sense, you know what I mean? But you know, they still mine, you know. But it is what it is.
Right.
So I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves.
All right. So don't go anywhere. We're going to wrap up. So Tea Time with Fionix. The title of this show comes from a conversation that I had recently where we talked about what do you give to others? And, you know, they always talk about, oh, you can't give from an empty cup, or you'll have some people who say, you know, what's in the cup is mine, and what falls over or spills over is for everyone else. And so I initially felt that for the longest time, when it came to how I gave of myself, all I had was the tea bag in the bottom of the cup. I had poured out everything in the cup to everyone else. And so I decided what's going to make me happy, what's going to put back into my cup. And that is sharing my stories, engaging with the public, growing in front of the camera so everybody can see the transformation that is Tiffany into Fionix and Fionix into Tiffany, because we interchange. And so my time here with you is me actually filling up my cup of tea. So I have something besides the tea bag. So I will be here once a month with Tea Time with Fionix. And until next time, I want to thank everybody for joining us. And don't forget to hustle and shine.
Peace.